For the graft preparation for CuffMend posterior approach, we will need an ArthroFlex graft. In this case, we are using a 20 by 25 millimeter graft that is 1 millimeter thick. We'll also need the sutures to prepare the graft, 3 number 0 fiber wires and 2 fiber link suture tapes. A scorpion can be used to pass the sutures. The graft will then get loaded into the graft spreader. The graft is placed in the prep area and oriented so that the long edges of the graft run anterior to posterior. It can be helpful to mark the medial and lateral sides of the graft to keep the orientation correct. On the medial side of the graft, use a scorpion to pass a number 0 fiber wire through each corner of the graft in a simple configuration. Next, a fiber link suture tape will be passed through the corners on the lateral side of the graft in a cinch or luggage tag configuration. It can be helpful to load the looped end of the stitch onto the shaft of the scorpion before completing the suture passage, to allow the cinch stitch to be more easily completed. These steps are the same for both a left shoulder and a right shoulder. Mark the anterior-posterior sides of the graft. 1 extra fiber wire will be needed to complete the graft prep. The orientation of the graft will be different for a left shoulder versus a right shoulder case. Add the additional number 0 fiber wire into the anterolateral corner of the graft in a simple configuration. Now the graft is ready to be loaded into the graft spreader. Using a suture passing flag, pass all the fiber wires through the holes on the graft spreader. The fiber link suture tapes will not be passed through the holes in the spreader. The number 0 fiber wires through the distal end of the graft spreader will be crisscrossed to the inside cleats of the graft spreader handle. The remaining fiber wire will be cleated straight down to the outer cleat on the handle. Finally, the fiber link suture tapes will both cleat straight down into the same cleat on the graft spreader handle. The graft is now ready for insertion.